Hi, I'm Sammy, user researcher here at Synthetic Users, and in this video I'm going to show you how to set up evaluative type studies. In a previous video, I explained how to set up exploratory type studies. These are the two types of studies you can conduct with synthetic users. Exploratory are generative in nature, where you're asking questions about a specific audience or a specific subject. And then the more evaluative type research projects are those that apply when you already have a concept or an idea or a product, be it physical or digital, that you want to show the synthetic users and get some feedback on. So if you haven't watched the exploratory type video, go ahead and watch it, as you may be running those types of tests too. And if you are only going to be evaluating concepts, then stay on this video. The first thing we're going to do is create a new project if you don't have one already, or go into the project you want to create the study for. Evaluative studies is what I'm going to call this project. Click here and navigate into the project. On this level, if you have any documentation that is relevant for you to upload and give the system more information about your audience, about the audience you want to simulate, you can do that here before you create the study. Uploading documents via RAG will then those documents will show up at the on the next phase when you are describing the audience you want to simulate, and then you can select the documents that pertain to that particular audience, so that the system can augment the generation of your synthetic users based on that data that you're providing. Okay, so yeah, if you do have that data uploaded before, in the reports tab, you'll be able to see the reports you've generated, and we're going to be sticking to this tab here for the creation of evaluative studies. Okay, in plans, what you have is it's prismas, and prismas are more exploratory in nature. So for this one, we're going to stick here. So you're going to click on create study, and feel free to use the templates that are kind of, already preset study planners that you just have to fill in. And the evaluative study types here are user testing, solution testing, and multi-concept study. All the rest are more exploratory in nature. Okay, so I'm going to open the blank canvas just so that I can show you from scratch what this looks like. Two things you're always going to have to click on and fill in, regardless of the study type you are going for, are audience and participants. You see them here as step 1 and 2 of the guide that's always available. And you have to get through these steps in order to be able to proceed to the next phase, which is when the system shows you the participants. So we're going to go ahead and click audience. In the previous video, I was describing, I'll use the same audience. It was healthcare workers in Europe that work the night shift. So by inputting a very simple phrase like that, you can now benefit from the polish button, which will improve this audience description for you. We're going to go ahead and click accept. You feel free to have a look at this and then edit it or tweak it in whichever way you like. That makes more sense to you. And if you had uploaded content via RAG, then you can they'll appear here, or you can upload them here as well. And here you select them depending on which documents are relevant for this particular study. Once you've described your audience, you're going to close this and go back to the components. Select the amount of participants you're simulating, up to 20 per study. Okay. And then you're going to stay down here in these two boxes, basically. These are the evaluative type studies. These two up here are exploratory. Here we have our audience and participants. The concept is what we're going to click next. And here you will, if you have an image, upload your concept. What this looks like is something like this. Okay. In this case, I was simulating the night shift workers, and I had this imaginary app that produces content for them. So once you upload that image, your study planner is going to allow you to move to the next stage, and it's going to show you the participants that are available for you to run the interviews with. All these are, when you are building your study, all of these will be editable. The only kind of layers of these cards that are not editable are the top ones, which are the name, profession, age, and location, and the personality. Okay, but the ones at the bottom will be editable. Here they're not, because this study is already completed, and I had it ready for the purpose of the video, but you can edit them when you're building your study. You can kind of change the wording, or delete one of these parameters, or add new parameters, or fully delete one synthetic user and request for the system to generate a new one. In this case, because it's already ready, I can go ahead and export this as an image if I want this card in this exact format for bringing it outside of the tool and then using it for reporting purposes elsewhere. Okay. Once you're happy with your participants and you've selected the language, which is also at this step in a button that appears over here, you will move on to the Insights tab, and this is where your interviews will appear. Okay, the transcripts. In the transcript, one thing that's important to mention is that in this type of study, in the concept test, where you're testing a single concept, the system will generate the first 10 questions for you based on your description of the concept and based on your audience description. For others, it's different, but I'll mention that in just a second. So you'll see here that all these questions, from the first one to the 10, were generated by the system. And then if you have your own questions that you want to add as follow-ups, you can go ahead and do that over here. So at the end of each interview, you will get this option. You can ask one of the participants a follow-up question, or the same question to all of them. There's also follow-up questions. Before I go to that, you can see these highlighted phrases here. That was me. You can highlight anything that you want to mark in either blue, green, or red, and these annotations will live in the Annotations tab. They're segmented or organized by synthetic user and per question. So then if you want to generate a report in every one of these studies, you will have the option to get a report generated at the end of the interviews. And all of these reports provide a summary of what happened or what arose in the transcripts. They're segmented or presented by themes, and every theme has a summary, some verbatim quotes, and some key takeaways. Okay, and at the end, if you scroll all the way down, you can ask a follow-up question to the report. So it doesn't really mean you're asking the report a question. You are asking the research AI entities in synthetic users that interviewed your synthetic users. You are asking them a question. So you're speaking directly to the research agent. And this can help you kind of dig a little bit deeper into the insights or into any particular themes that you found interesting, or you can request another sort of analysis in the follow-up questions. You can generate some tables as well. Or like if you want a really aggressive summary of the findings that you can present to somebody else in like 1 minute, you can ask for that here. So it behaves really similarly to any other large language model that you're used to using. One thing you can do here as well on the interviews is export the individual interviews over here. If you hover by the name of the synthetic user, this will copy the whole interview transcript, and then you can place it somewhere else. And if you click on the participant, that will bring up their individual card, okay? Which you can here also export. If you click on share, this will literally generate a shareable link that then you can send to someone else, whether they have an account or not, and they'll be able to see this this study, okay? Everything that's here. In the knowledge graph, what you have is a more visual representation of what came out in the interviews. So these are, you know, themes or keywords that are connected to each other depending on how they came up in the interviews. And, you know, if you prefer to consume data in this way, then please go ahead and download a knowledge graph. It's not immediately created or generated. You have to just click one button, okay, after the interviews run. One thing that's important to mention also in terms of follow-up questions is that if you, for this concept test that begins with its own questions, if you then add more follow-up questions and you happen to have already generated a report before asking your follow-up questions, and then you want your report to include your follow-up questions, you can come into the report and ask the system to regenerate it. Okay, so that will then include all the additional questions that you input into the follow-ups. Okay. If you clone this study plan, what's going to happen, this is it's a standard thing, by the way. These two lines at the top, they are standard across all study types. So yeah, they'll apply for any study that you do. And if you clone it, what will happen is that you go back to the study planner, and the system has cloned only this part of your study. Okay, you're not going to have the same participants, and therefore you're not going to have the same interviews. What you're cloning is the setup. Okay, your research plan. Right. So that's it about the oh, let me go back to this one actually. About the concept test or the solution test. If you want to compare concepts, then all you have to do is add more, or you can choose from the templates. You can choose the multi-concept study, or from here, from the component page, or from the canvas, you can add more concepts. Okay. If you have images for them, go ahead and upload them here. You can, compare quite a few. I think it's up to 10 concepts that you can compare. So here you are, creating your multi-concept test, and what this looks like in as a result once the whole thing is kind of launched, after you've described your audience and uploaded your all the inputs needed, then it looks like this. So it's similar to this, but in vertical. Here, for example, I was again describing or simulating that audience of healthcare workers working on the night shift. And for this sort of test, when you're running a comparison, you will need to kickstart the test with your custom script. So with your first 10 questions. And make sure that you use 10 questions if you do have them. Because then those 10 questions, though, if you, for example, start a test with, say, 4 questions for some reason, then the rest of the questions won't automatically be kind of attributed to the follow-ups. You would be kind of losing some questions there. So yeah, if you do have 10 questions, by all means add them at the beginning. What else? Basically, yeah, this what the system does here is that it clones your audience. It clones your 5 or 6 synthetic users that you generated, depending on the number, and it'll show them your different concepts at once, right? So they'll all see the different concepts at once, but they won't remember having seen the other concepts. So they're always kind of providing their most honest opinions about the concept, and then the system will run the comparison for you. So yes, you could be showing different products entirely, in this case, again, using my imaginary app for content or entertainment, for these people working on the night shifts in healthcare, I had an app that was video based. Another version of this app was only audio content, and the last one was text. So I'm comparing those three versions of the same app. And then you can get a comparison done, right? So in a multi-study report, what you get is something that looks like this, where you have your executive summary, and then you can see reports for each of your concepts, and finally a comparative analysis, okay, where you get kind of the preferred version or preferred concept, and a justification for it, like all the details around that justification, what were the themes, what were the differences between them. Yeah, a comparison and synthesis and conclusions. So have a go at that if you want to compare some concepts. And the final evaluative study type is the user testing. So I'm going to actually go back towards the project and click through the template so you can see. You see that already brings out everything that we need. And in this study type, as opposed to uploading separate concepts, what you'll see here is that you can either upload a Figma link if you have a prototype already in Figma that you want to import into here, or if you have the screens or some screenshots that you can upload. What will happen is you'll then have to add the questions per screen. I think I have some questions here. See? Some questions, no, I mean some screens. So just so that you can see what the flow is like. You would then upload your screens that you want to test here. You select a screen, and then you add the questions that you want per screen. So question 1, if I want another one, question 2, or depending on how many questions you want to ask per screen, and then you go ahead and select another screen, and so forth. Okay. Once you have your user test fully set up, it will look like this. Again, you have your study planner, your participants, and your insights, and you'll see it's a very similar setup as the concept test that I showed you. But in this opportunity, you have each question showing one of the screens. Okay, so they're all kind of contextualized. And yeah, accompanied by the question that you wrote. These are obviously custom questions. The system is not generating the questions for you, and you can always go ahead and ask follow-up questions. You would, in this case, have to select the screen that you're referring to. And by the way, in previous tests where there are no screens to select from on the follow-up questions, you can always mention the question number that you are following up from. Let's say the system generated the 10 questions and you actually want to follow up from question 3. You can say, thinking back to question 3, blah, blah, blah. Add your follow-up question after that. So yeah, always giving the synthetic user some context and more detail about which question exactly you're following up from. Okay, so this is what the user testing looks like, and you can again generate a report from this, not a knowledge graph, but yeah, you can always annotate and see your annotations over here. Those are I think, 3 types of evaluative tests or evaluative studies that you can run in synthetic users. Have a go. Let us know if you have any questions, and I hope this video was useful to you. Thank you. Bye.